Traders, friends, investors, peeps, we are back. You know, I'm more than just your Hyliion plug. We can talk about stuff with things, and we do. We post them all the time on the socials. Here's some of the callouts from this week. And these are battlefields. You can't just hold and hope. Some that you could have held and hoped, and look, 19%, 20%. But if you would have just held these randomly, you know, some of these ended up having some bad news, and we'll talk about that later. Or some of them just pulled back, you know. Happens. We're going to start doing live streams kind of regularly. Try to do them on Fridays after the video and on Sundays. We'll see how it goes. I think Sundays will be really productive because I'll have done all of my DD throughout the weekend and we can get together, compare notes, do some charting, and plan for the trading week ahead. Now, real quick, let's talk about Hyliion. So we charted this the other day. They finally started to break out on that Wegmans news, but it wasn't enough. I've had people questioning the short selling going on, and I encourage you to do your own research and just simply Google short selling in Hyliion, and you'll see that, you know, I'm not the only person talking about it, and it's not just YouTubers. It's on, you know, Forbes and on some of these bigger websites. On there's a Motley Fool article on it that came out at the end of September, so go check that out. But yeah, man, it's happening still. You know, we saw it today. This right here, it's not by chance that we get to these different critical points and it just crosses and drops. And notice, you know, all these times over here where it kind of touched and went, kind of touched and turned, it just kept riding up nicely. But none of these candles really break through a little bit. As soon as it gets to this point, it drops hard. Like, You know, I'm not the only person charting these kinds of trend lines, okay? These are known trouble areas, points of resistance, points of support, and people act on that. Back here, you got to be careful. If you're like out and you're doing like a 10-day chart and you chart something like that, you're like, oh, it looks like a good line. Well, if you zoom in, it might not have been the best plot, but it's close enough. It gives you just a reference point that, hey, if you know we're touching and riding this thing and going under it, something might happen. And it did. It ran down, you know, and it started getting shorted again. And, you know, we talked about in the last video, the Wegman deal was good, but we need substance. We need numbers, man. We need truck orders. This company, 500 trucks, 100 trucks by 2021 in January. You know, something quantifiable. Because, unfortunately, one of the things that we kind of overlooked was the fact that this guy literally facilitated a pump and dump. And it's funny, look, he's deleted all of his tweets. But even Nikola, the company themselves, you look at them, they post, you know, every single day. And whether it's about a deal or not, they're getting metadata out there. They're in the, you know, they're getting retweets, they're getting likes, and they're getting exposure. And that is what fueled, you know, the FOMO. You had lots of buyers finding out about this thing all at once, and it was at a good value. And then not to mention, like we talked about in some of the other videos, we were in an absolute bull era. The SP 500 and everything was just cranking dick, dude. Not a care in the world. So once we get here and get all dicey, you know, we said everything had changed, and, you know, it really did. You know, look at Hyliion. When's the last time they posted? 23 hours ago. Before that, on the 7th. Before that. So they'll go a couple days without posting sometimes. Same thing with, you know, with the CEO. He'll go days without posting. I'll link this in the down there. I encourage you to read this. But, you know, he basically goes on to say in this that, you know, he's an engineer, man. He's proud of his work, essentially, and he's going to let the product do the walking and do the talking for himself. He's not going to sit there and, you know, hype the media up and do all that stuff. So, unfortunately, without any big news or, you know, deals coming in, we are going to be kind of locked into this weird fucking zone for a while, it would appear, because, you know, you got a little pop on some news, and then it just gets exploited. So be patient, but this is not going to be the run that we thought it was going to be. This is going to be like a kind of normal business at this point. Yes, it's very beat down right now, but it's going to kind of trade in a channel until there's news that rationalizes a jump, you know? It's not just going to be pumping on, you know, hopes and dreams anymore. I think there's been a reality check and lots of people have been scared off on SPACs. And yeah, so we're in a different time. Now, let's talk about the other plays, man. I haven't just been sitting on my hands waiting for Hyliion. I mean, one of my accounts is a little bit locked up right now, but that's cool. We've been trading on the other one. We found this on the pre-market movers Wednesday in the live stream in the morning, and we've been playing that since, and that's run up 24. We did a video on VSLR a couple days ago and Sunrun, which actually combined, and we talked about Sunrun and VSLR and how we really like them, and they were actually chugging along nicely. Of course, I didn't see this until after the fact, but look at this. Look at this little insider news wire. This sale happened on the 7th. 1 million shares. Let's look what happened on the 7th. All right, so here's the 7th market close. Look at that volume right there. Yep. So that's what someone unloading 1 million shares looks like. So that sent us down. So yeah, I mean, if you would have just held on to this, you would have been down 8% roughly from when we called it out on Tuesday, Wednesday. I got out somewhere over in here, made a little change, but was hoping I could just hang on to them for a little bit longer, but it ended up pulling back. And when it started to go red like this, I couldn't stand it any longer, so I jumped out. And that was a good thing I did, because then this giant order came in, and then I would have been like breaking even at this level right here. So next one, and you guys are probably familiar with this, is IPOB. I love these guys mainly just because I think Kathy is a genius, and if ARK Invest is in this thing, then I'm with it. And FBIO, we recently got into this. We called out the other day that it looked like it was pulling back. We might have a buying opportunity, and it continued to run down. I scooped up a small position in here, and then ended up adding more to it over here. So, you know, if you just kind of held and hoped blindly on this, you'd be down 1% from when we called it out. But, you know, if you kind of played the volatility, there was a nice little swing in here. I was just grabbing a small position and waiting to play this pre-anticipatory run that we're going to have towards the FDA announcement. So that was the picks, the guys that we like this week. We got a watch list. We'll put in the down there. We update that, and yes, would love for you guys to play along and make some money. Be careful, because I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice, but clearly some of these worked out pretty good. Anyways, just a quick one. Hope you enjoyed. Stop by for the live stream. We got bag holder therapy and bourbon. We're going to be talking about stocks, bonds, boobs, and bitches. No. Yeah, we can talk about whatever you want. New positions. We're going to be doing some DD, some charting, some stuff with things, and of course drinking, because it's Friday. So you're not going to want to miss it. Come on down, traders. I will catch you in a bit.